Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Drew from Team Drew's Basement as we talk about his project, The Plague Throne, and the tabletop gaming community. So, in that first campaign I was talking about when we first started this, Brent, who's my co-host, was playing that gunslinger, and by the end of that campaign, we went 1 to 20. He became actually of course, Ragnarok happened. I wasn't planning on it, but it happened. Mm-hmm. And he replaced Forseti in Norse mythology as the god of justice and took his spark. And then, I kind of have like this mindset. It's almost like Deep Space Nine with trills. So it's kind of like you have those shared experiences if you share a spark. And so fast forward to this last campaign I just did, what the brand new player at the table, because I have a little player guide, like she becomes a celestial warlock, and I go, well, who's your patron for a god? And it's the god of justice. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then Brent, who missed that second campaign but came back for this one, I'm like, hey, couple of things that you're so we're still playing in the same setting. It's going to be a little weird for you because somebody's playing a celestial warlock, and he's like, okay, no big deal. I'm like, their god is you. The god of justice. He's like, oh, okay. And then one of the other players was playing a gunslinger. Oh, and also somebody else is playing a gunslinger, and they're probably the only second one of that class besides you that's been in this setting. Oh, okay. So when she had those little calls basically with the god of justice, it was a little bit surreal to kind of use what I now consider my best friend's mannerisms and his wife sitting at the table at the same time on him or in front of him with this other player.
That's super awesome, though. That's great. I love that. That's super cool. And fun fact about me, I had the biggest crush on Jadzia Dax growing up. So
anyone that watched Deep Space Nine that was a boy at the time did.
I mean, listen, Kira had her moments too, but yeah, Dax was it.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Yar too, but she didn't make it long.
No. But if you're watching Deep Space Nine, yeah, and you're probably a teenage boy, Jadzia Dax was probably your crush.
I mean, I don't know if did you grow up where you're at?
Yeah, I've always been kind of in the Omaha area.
Okay, I don't know what the program was like by you, but on Saturday nights when I was growing up, it was the best. It was Saturday nights. I would get snacks. My dad would get a snacks, and me and him would park on the couch at night on Saturday, and it would be Star Trek: The Next Generation, followed by Deep Space Nine, followed by Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, followed by Xena Warrior Princess, and it was like the best.
Damn,
that started my whole nerd thing.
Yep. What started, well, besides my dad, who I'm his first child, so he's trying to kind of figure out how do I bond with this firstborn kid of mine. We'd go every Saturday to go get comics, and that's how I went down that path initially. And on top of that, we every Friday night, the PBS station would have sci-fi Friday nights, and they'd play Red Dwarf, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Doctor Who, and just all those kind of British sci-fi type shows. Yeah. And you'd watch those, and then if you stayed up late enough, Mystery Science Theater.
Mystery Science Theater was so funny. I love that show. But fun fact about my dad. So he's the one who got me really into Star Trek and everything. I got me into Star Wars too when I was real little, but Star Trek he got me into when I was, say, like a preteen, I would say.
Yeah.
He got me into Star Trek with The Next Generation because that show was... I'll probably get boo-hissed a lot, but I think that's the best Star Trek that's ever been, The Next Generation, but that's just personal opinion. I know people like other shows, it's fine.
I'd have to agree it's the best one out of the series. It's not my favorite. I actually prefer Voyager. That's my favorite, but I do agree Next Generation is the best.
That's so funny. I don't know if you know the Lonely Havoc on Instagram.
No.
He's a big Warhammer guy. He's one of the hosts of Heroes Brush Hour.
Okay.
Where you have like an hour to paint a mini on stream, and people can like make tips to make you like dance or sing to break up your painting. Like it's a fun little show. And
That's an interesting
He
concept.
actually and I he posted a Star Trek meme,
Yeah.
and I responded to it, and he and I just got into a whole long conversation about how much he loves Voyager and how much I love Next Generation, and how we're both like, but both are great. like,
Hmm.
like it's not even like an argument. It's just like here's why I like this one better. Oh, here's why I like this one better. Yeah, we're both right.
That's the one thing I like about D&D is like it kind of like there's still the debate, but I feel like the edition wars kind of thing is done. It's now just like, okay, you like that edition? That's cool. You know, that's your game.
Well, you know what? That's funny. Like because 4E is still kind of like people are like mad about it, but I thought
Yeah.
it was great for what it was.
I th- I actually cut my teeth on 4E, so I didn't know any better at the time. I do have a soft spot for it, but when I was playing 5E and then kind of branched out to the different editions, I can see what people were complaining about.
Yeah.
But I do the one thing I will give 4E credit for, and I will defend it staunchly on, is if you go to like 3, there's a page of text. If you go to 4E, it explains the same text in a paragraph.
Yep. No, listen, 4E was a clean cut tabletop MMO, is
Yeah.
how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I got joy out of like the little power cards and stuff, like for
Mm-hmm.
the classes you leveled. Like it was a fun version of D&D. It's not the D&D I grew up with, but listen when that was the edition, I used it,
Mm-hmm.
and like the players had fun. I played it in stores and everything, ran in stores, and it was a great time. But the most recent release of D&D is part of the reason why I've gone to old school essentials at this point.
That's kind of with this last year. I've started looking at like Shadow Dark. I'm still play 5e and it's still my bread and butter. But I've started
Yeah,
looking at like
5e is
OSR
good.
titles and like the 2014 5e, just with the 2000 or the OSR or the OGL. Not so many different letters here, but
Yep.
with Shadow Dark, I interviewed Chris Gonerman back in October for Basic Fantasy. Then I started checking that out, and that's an amazing system.
Yeah,
And
I've heard good things about that one.
yeah, and then after talking to Jim Wampler back in December, I started looking at Mutant Crawl Classics even more. I'd already
Yep.
looked at it and played it once, but I really like looked at it and I'm like, man, this is such a good engine here.
Yeah, I love OSE because it reminds me so much of just old school D&D
Mm-hmm.
where it wasn't super like stat heavy. Like you had your stats and your dice rolls, but like you didn't have like 52 different like sub, abilities to roll for. Like, okay,
No,
I want to look for this. Well, you got to look at this chart to that chart to that. No, this is like, okay, make an investigation roll D6. Higher's better, like and I just find it a lot more fun and a lot more the way I grew up, and it's more brutal. That's what I love about it. Is like at level 1, when you create a character, you could have 1 hit point. Like it's that brutal. And
I'm
well,
trying
I
to.
guess I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying. No, I'm trying to remember what system it is where there's a possibility, like if you actually follow the rules of the book, you can die in character creation because you could roll negative HP
Yes.
and just like have to roll. I can't remember what's called though.
It's a word too that like I know and I can't think of it either. But
Yeah,
me and my group just had a discussion like a couple sessions ago about that game.
yeah.
I don't know, because for me, I kind of like the way I've always viewed D&D, because Diablo 1 was out when I was
Hmm.
first starting D&D, like way back in the day, and I always felt like I don't know, there should be a realness, there should be a risk. I feel like the way D&D is now is like you start as Iron Man and Hulk and Thor,
Hmm.
and like you're already established heroes, and like you're gonna go face the entire army of Thanos coming into New York City, and like, ha ha ha, look how fantastic I am, and I'm a hero, and like to me that kills the love of the story. Like
No.
there has to be some struggle or strife for a character to grow, in my opinion. But this is my opinion. Play it however you want.
Yeah, I found, especially towards the end of my last campaign, when I really started into the mechanics of like 5e14 and figuring out what damage should be as the levels go up, and actually finding like a table that they recommend,
Yeah,
especially for homebrewing monsters. I find that if you run it raw, straight out of the monster manual and all, vanilla monsters, you have to like homebrew those monsters. You're going to have to figure out what you're gonna have to do a little homework here for anyone that's listening, and figure out kind of what the average HP of everyone is, and try and hit it to where that monster, if they could kill you in 2 to 3, 4 hits, and then if it's a
Yep.
boss monster, they should be able to probably hit you in 1 to 2 hits and drop you unconscious. And don't worry about killing your players, because if they get to higher levels and you're able to do that, more than likely they can bring themselves back up. There's always these reactions and different things.
Yep. I mean, I thought 5e definitely lended more to homebrew and creation than
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the other editions. And I really liked the 2014 5e. I really did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. But this new edition that's coming out, where like I saw that they like leaked a list of things that like you can't say or like labels or like you can't. I forget what it was, but one of them was like you can't cause like psychosis or something because of mental health and like it'll trigger people, so you can't like have that ability. Some other stuff. The fact that orcs are good guys now, like, and like there's
I
no bad orc anymore. It's like, what are we
we
doing here?
we've talked about that on this podcast multiple times. I told them, it's like, I do not mind what they did with the orcs. It's like, fine, they turn into this people, but it's like it can be thrown away in a paragraph on the thing of, hey, most of this culture, not all of them, you shouldn't stereotype an entire culture like they're trying to prevent, but they are, of, hey, they realized this type of lifestyle was the wrong way, so they've kind of gone beyond that.
Right.
That's all I had to say.
Right. And that's it. That's exactly it. Now you have orcs that you can play, but you might be like, but they're not as many as there were that still look at the old ways and they're still
Mhm.
evil. Like,
Yeah, I actually got a little bit of hate for this, and a couple personal messages, because I brought it up on the podcast. No one wanted to
uh,
comment on it on the actual episode and increase the engagement for whatever reason, but I got a couple personal messages because I said, I find it funny as they're trying to be more politically correct, inclusive, and I don't blame them on that, but and represent culture better. But from a fantasy point of view, technically you made them look less monstrous because that looks more appeasing. That's kind of what colonizers did back in the day when they whitewashed other cultures because they did not agree with it. So technically,
yep.
though you have the right mentality, you're doing the wrong thing in a way, if you look at it from a certain point of view.
No, 100%. I think one of my biggest issues with D&D is they're trying to overcorrect
Mm-hmm.
and and like at the sake of fun in the game.
Yeah.
Like I've been to conventions and stuff, specifically PAX, where like there's panels about inclusivity and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen those panels where I actually watched an influencer DM who was screaming about, I don't care about the straight man story. No one cares about the straight man story, and it's like, well, that's not the right attitude to have either. Like, my thing with it is D&D is a set of rules. Tell the story the way you want to tell it. If you want to have it centered on XYZ, have it started on XYZ. If you want it on ABC, have it on ABC. If you want to do something in the middle and just hit F, go
Yeah.
for it. Like it doesn't matter what story you want to hear or don't hear.
If
Tell your story.
if you want to go after the one book that came after last year and run a story that has anti-colonial, or you don't want to deal with colonialization or anything like that, I don't exactly get it. That's not how my table would run, but more power to you. Just my problem is when people with that kind of preach those values, they make it feel like the people that are at their table, their personal home table, do playing a game of make believe, they're playing it wrong. And I'm like, it's a game of make, it's a game. First off, and it's a game of make believe. If your table is having fun, you're not always being politically correct, but it's a group of friends. If no one's getting
I think,
hurt,
but I think you just nailed it right on the head there. I think the problem with D&D, specifically because of, and I'm not saying this in a negative way about them, but I think because of shows like Critical Role, Dimension 20, and COVID, that people take D&D too seriously, that they now look at this as a way to make income,
mm-hmm.
and it's no longer about like, yo, what's up, Adam? Yeah, what are you doing Friday night? You want to do some D&D? All right, cool. Bring over some beer and chips, and we'll hang out. We'll run
Yep.
some D&D. I'll call Kevin and Pat. You call Chris. Like it's not about that anymore. It's about everyone trying to become an influencer, make money, get sponsored, get free stuff from this terrain company, get free stuff from this dice company. Like, chill out. Like D&D at its core, and I always maintain this, is meant to be fun.
Yes.
And if you keep it fun,
I,
it'll be around forever. Like, my game has run for 29 years because we don't, because as seriously as we take it, as serious as my story is, because I run a pretty serious campaign.
yeah. Uh,
It's not like a
I
joke campaign.
no. In my session zeros, I tell people it's like, hey, this will be a serious storyline. It will be have some dark themes to it. I will warn you.
Yep.
But yeah, imagine I tell them I go I kind of draw inspiration from my three favorite movie directors. Imagine a dark serious campaign like Tim Burton, but probably with Kevin Smith's humor and probably about the violence level of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. See, and that's my kind of vibe too. And I run a pretty serious campaign, but like it's also lighthearted. Like I don't like we make occasional jokes, we'll laugh,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think that people have lost like the ability to like just play the game for fun and tell the
Yeah,
story your way. Like, and I say this all the time. I'm like, play the game. Like, don't let anyone tell you how to play D&D.
yeah.
Because the minute you do that, now you're playing it wrong.
I won't name the influencer, or I guess they consider themselves an influencer. I was talking to Dracoya the other day because me and her talk weekly almost now, and we got into kind of just complaining about certain things that bother us. But I was talking about I reeled that I had a problem with one person that's kind of in on kind of the D&D influencer circuit, and I'm just like it it just comes off like they're just trying to make money or they're trying to make a business. It does not feel like they're hobbyist. It feels like they came in during the pandemic as an opportunist.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The vibe that you get from said person, who I'm telling you, I can already guess who it
Yeah.
is the exact same vibe I get. And I can tell you for a fact, I know people who have interacted with this person who's an influencer or
Mm-hmm.
claims to be an influencer. And it's very, very much about the money, not about the game,
Nope.
and just it's a heartless, soulless thing. And it kills me because like I do see follower numbers and things like that, and like people that this person gets to interact with, and I'm just like, wow, like I mean, listen, I try not to be jealous of things. Like I'm very
No.
fortunate in what I'm able to
No. And
like
it's
and
not
everything, but
from a
I'm like,
point of it's not from a point of jealousy. I kind of like thought about it for a while. It's like, am I jealous of this person? I'm like, no, it's just I can sense the inauthentic, like they're not authentic.
100%.
And
And
then
that's what kills me about it.
this episode's been brought to you by. So every GM here starts small when building a campaign, right? A tavern, a village, a few NPCs. But what if your players want something more without you feeling overwhelmed? That's where Centurion 3D Studios steps in. Their new miniature village set lets you start small, but it's over 30 build-out options. Infinite ways to grow your world. Centurion 3D Studios is for the GMs that want to start small, but go big for their players. Alright, fellow hermits, Heimdall has just dropped their new dice line, and they come in a unique LED display box that makes them look like they're pulled straight out of a mythical ancient Viking vault. And the dice themselves, they're runic. Full Thark-inspired font on the faces, but the wild part is they've got this iridescent finish that literally changes when the light hits them. It's like your dice are actually filled with magic. If you want to show off the dice in a totally new way, grab one of these 5 sets, if not all of them. There's something out of the 9 realms themselves. So
Okay.
you have Plague Throne going. What other projects are you, or do you have anything else in the pipeline? Or you mentioned that you were writing RPGs and all that.
Oh yeah, I have 2 RPGs. One is called the Gehenna Project.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically an open world kind of. Well, the Gehenna Project and Ordo Infinite out of Essig are the 2 games I'm working on. Gehenna
Yeah.
Project is based on a character that I shortly played in a Mechtan Zeta game before exiting that. Um, and it's basically you can run it Gundam style, you can run it Mass Effect style, you can run it Star Trek style, Star Wars style. It's kind of open ended in terms of how you want to do your campaign,
It's like
but
a
it's also
sci-fi kind of GURPS, I guess. kind of vibe.
Yes, but a little more refined. I feel like GURPS was a little too crazy, like all over the
Yeah.
place. But this is so it's a skill based game. It's not level of character. So you make your character, assign your stats, and then your skills level. You get experience points in your skills as you use them. You get general IP to buy new skills if you want, and it's basically like it gives you the main story, like in the book
Okay.
of like how we got here. How you want to play it at this point is completely up to you. Completely up to you. You could do like high military. You could do a Warhammer 40k grim dark high military one if you wanted
Yeah.
to, like
But
StarCraft if you
you
wanted.
don't level up like a D&D system though. So it's like a I guess a Call of Cthulhu where you don't level up but you level up and it's up and down skills.
It's just literally put experience into your skills and like so your stats determine your dice
Yeah.
obviously, and then it just your skill will get experience as you use it, or as the DM feels like maybe you used it great or whatever. And then they can also give you general experience that you can invest in skills or buy new skills, and that's how you get more powerful rather than just like, oh, I'm level 2, so now I get this. Level 3, I
Yeah.
get this. Now it's and the other thing about it too is you can create skills
Yeah.
and specialization. So like if you're good with like let's say like the laser rifle or whatever, like is
Hmm.
that like one of your things? But you want to be a sniper, you could create like a sniper skill to like enhance your stats and stuff like that. Like it's pretty open ended like that.
I like that. I like that a
I
lot.
will.
I that's the one thing I like about Call of Cthulhu is like you're leveling technically adventure, but you don't feel like you're leveling because you're supposed to still be basically just an HP balloon for if you play it stupid.
Right, and that's kind of how I viewed it was like you're you. Like this is your hit points. You know, if you want to level a stat, you can with general IP, but it's going to take a lot more than like it's more worth it to invest in the skills than it is to raise like your strength 1 point. Like you're better off buying the skill, like setting everything initially, and then you know you have hit points and you have I forget what I call it. You have psionic points in that
Yeah.
because in the game, basically the Gehenna project was we made first contact with aliens and no, I'm sorry, we found psychic potential in people,
Yeah.
and the general of Earth, essentially his daughter had they discovered the most amount of psychic potential in her, and they broke her when they discovered an alien on Earth. When the alien in this case is kind of like, just to put it something visually easy, more like a tyrannid,
Yeah.
like more insect like. And when they put her in the room with this creature, they bonded. And then there was like this crazy feedback because because like her father was pushing her to like try things with their powers on it, and she exploded in a nova of light that awoke everybody with potential. And some characters don't happen. Everyone has like a minimum number in that stat that they have to have because everyone's
Okay.
has quote unquote potential. But you could be like just a regular human soldier and like just you know that's a low stat for you. And it woke everybody. And when it did that, it sent out a that nova sent out a
Hmm.
beacon to the aliens in the universe, and then they came to Earth and introduced us like into like the whole. Hey, you're not alone here. Want to see how
Yeah.
vast the universe really is?
Yeah. It feels like a very kind of I feel you're describing that, and all I can think about is like Mass Effect and like
Yes.
combo of like Star Trek First Contact when they activate the warp drive, and it just so happens there's a Vulcan nearby, so it's like, hey, you finally crossed that bridge.
Well, the fun thing that I like that I do because I love like sci-fi
Hmm.
to a certain
Same.
extent. For me, sci-fi and fantasy always go back and forth.
Hmm.
But I did it where that nova just never stopped going out. So all the races like eventually become aware,
Oh,
and then we get brought into the fold. Like in Mass Effect, we get brought into the fold of like all the races and everything. But it went out past known space, and dark things out there are aware that we're now psychically potent, and they're starting to come into like real space. And that's where you can do it where like you could do like a StarCraft or Warhammer style where
yeah.
like Tyranids are invading because we awoke them, or you could do like Mass Effect where like these ancient beings are going to come and try and cleanse everything. Like it's completely open ended to whatever you want to do, but it's an homage to like all those sci-fi games and movies and stuff.
Oh, God, that's cool. That is cool.
And you could do Star Trek style too. So you could legit
Yeah.
be like, we're gonna go out and explore now that humans are brought into the fold. We're gonna form our crew, and we're gonna head out. And we're gonna experience new life and new civilizations. And then I'd have to double check my notes because I think there's 5 playable races. One is human, obviously. One is a cybernetic race. One is like a reptilian race.
Yeah.
One is was definitely influenced by Star Wars,
Yeah.
like the Twi'lek style. But I say that in terms of like their skin, they're human-esque, but their skin is different. Their hair isn't really hair; it's more like tendrils, like a predator's tendrils.
Hmm.
And they have a third eye up here that they keep covered, but it makes them like if you choose them. I brought back racial bonuses
Yeah.
that they're more psychically inclined than the other races, and they actually have a racial ability where they can actually expose that eye. It puts them at higher risk to get damaged by psychic stuff, but they can pump out more psychic stuff by doing that. But they usually keep it covered by like a piece of jewelry or something that like is known as like the eye cover.
Yeah, that reminds me, there was a race in Babylon 5 where the dude had a third eye and he was like an assassin looking for psychics or something like that. I can't not remember. It's like in that first season. I'd have to go back and watch. It's been a couple of years since I watched that series, but I remember something that just reminds me of that. That's cool.
I ran it, I debuted it at Long Island Tabletop last year as just
Uh-huh.
like a quick adventure. And I tell you, the guy's like, "This is awesome. Do you have this book here?" And I'm like, "No, I'm still working on it. I just have characters for you to look at."
That's what I'm doing for my campaign setting is that's the goal is to get it all organized with all my lore and make it a system agnostic thing and maybe try and do something with it. But that way, if you want to play it with Shadow Dark or play it with D&D or play it
Right.
whatever you want in a fantasy kind of dark setting, go ahead. Enjoy all these characters I've talked about for hundreds of episodes.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with my homebrew too. Is I'm also working on an OSC campaign book for it.
Nice.
And then Ordo Infinite Atavastic is an original RPG set in like a Victorian era steampunk style, like inspired by like Penny Dreadful style, like visually.
Ooh. Yeah, I've stolen that plenty of plot points for that TV series in my games.
Yeah, that show I loved. But
That
visually, that's where I got the influence from visually. And and that game is based on real life scriptures. I mean, obviously depending on belief system of whether or not they're real or not, but
yeah,
real life scripture, holy books,
yeah,
demons of the world, like all that stuff, exorcisms, and a mix of Cthulhu mythos, where basically, what happens is God and the devil finally go to war, and when they finally meet, it creates a ripple in reality, and creates another pocket dimension called the Atavast, where all these dark beings kind of awaken, and like all the demons kind of culminate, and even like Cthulhu mythos
yeah.
is all in there. And what winds up happening is because of that initial blow that ripples reality, it causes tears in reality where these things start to spill through into our reality. And when it initially happened, it wipes out a lot of the population. To where now, like, there's city states where the walls are built all like 30, 40 feet high. And all the walls are decorated with multiple holy symbols of like different cultures, different religions, and the one that they created called the Ordo Atavastic, where they're basically their god is themselves, where they believe like humans have to believe in themselves now at this point because all these other things are so busy fighting each other. And it's more like a horror investigation game,
Yeah.
where at the last Long Island tabletop, I showed it off for the first time. I was really cautious. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to be perceived. The characters go to the mansion that they're supposed to go to, and like they meet the mother of this kid. She's like, oh, she's in her room. Something things have been weird. Obviously, I'm over nutshelling this, but
Yeah.
they go there and she's possessed by 8 different demons from 8 different cultures, and sorry, 7 different demons from 7 different cultures.
Yeah.
And I spoke 7 different languages at the table based on who they were talking to. Everybody freaked out. Everybody at the table was freaking out because it all culminated in a scene where they caught up to her where it's raining and they're chasing after her because she bursts out of the window, runs down the street while they're trying to like suck the demons out, and they can't really like pinpoint which one it is, so they can't communicate with it. And eventually, like, she starts freaking out. She's drenched in the rain, and she starts screaming at them. And then she just starts screaming her names and who she is. And she's describing who she is in the languages rather than just giving the name.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, one of the players at the table turns to me and goes, "I gotta walk away for a minute. I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I gotta go." And he legit got up and walked away from the table for 5 minutes. So now I'm laughing, and I did take some creative liberties with the setting because it is based on like real spiritual things and
Yeah.
scriptures that you can find, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, like the Book of
Mm-hmm.
Enoch, like all that stuff, like things you can find. And and one of the liberties I took was one of the pictures on my Instagram of a woman in a black dress with upside down crossed earrings and like a crown of roses.
Mm-hmm.
Really dark style, like got dark gothic style. They find her in the church, an abandoned church rather, a church that was for Catholicism that had been abandoned because no one believes specifically in any religion anymore. And she's up at the crucifix and she's touching the feet of Jesus, the statue of it, and she's like talking to it and talking about like my nephew, my nephew, my nephew. And like one of the characters goes, "What do you mean nephew?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's just what she's saying." So like they interact with her and eventually, and she keeps ignoring them. And then one of the characters gets up close, like closer to the altar where she's at. And he's like, "Hey, who are you?" And she turns around. She's absolutely beautiful, whatever. And she starts describing who she is, like in history in the grand scheme of things. And she actually just starts putting out her arms like this, and the whole player group starts to float in the air and turn upside down, and their arms go out and they form upside down crosses floating in the air above the pews. And basically, she winds up ending it with that her name is Lily Magdalene, and she's actually Mary's forgotten sister that turned to the devil because everyone praised her because she had Jesus.
It would, if you'd done that to me and it was like playing a Call through thing, because I know I could be one shotted at any time. It would have been that
Yeah.
Scary Movie 2 scene with James Woods, like, no, F this shit. Just...
So legit. The group, I mean, it was a convention, so the group wasn't worried about self-preservation.
Yeah.
But they got there, and I'll tell you that session made me the happiest that whole weekend because I had multiple people come up to me after the session and be like, "Dude, that was so chilling and cool. Like, you have to get that out. Like, that's a sick game." And I was like, okay. And then the Plague Throne took over, so I'm working that out. But I want to work on the horror game, the sci-fi game, and my OSE book when I'm done with the Plague Throne.
When you get done with the horror one, I'd love to play that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Like one of my...
Listen, I don't know if are you down for online games? Because I'll run a session for you online, provided you pre-gen.
I'll play online games and all that. It's just I don't get invited to them.
Oh, I would gladly hope. You know what? Mike from the Weather Dragon's been bugging me to play in a game. Chris, Peters, and Morgan have been bugging me to play in a game. That maybe I'll just get a bunch of you guys together and we'll do like a little online thing. And
sure.
Listen, if you want to record it, put it on your channel or whatever, stream it, whatever. I mean, that's fine. We can do it completely offline. Doesn't bother me.
I'd be amazing. No, one of my top 5 DM moments was playing The Haunting from Call of Cthulhu and pulling out every haunted house ghost trope out on co-host Brent and actually watching him get a bit unnerved.
It's always the best when the players react like that.
Because I've never seen him like legit, because he works for the county and all that, and he works in the kind of job that you don't get unnerved for, and watching him get unnerved, it was just like, this is fun.
Yeah, definitely. I love those moments. I love when the players actually, like, when you're telling the story and you can see them react. I have a picture on my Instagram wall, like from like early on in my account, where you actually see one of my players with his hands cupped over his mouth, rubbing his eyes, and just like staring like, what is happening right now, freaked out. I've had players cry at interactions, like, because they get so upset at the situation. I'm like, this is it. Like, this is peak role playing. This is great.
I've only gotten one player or two players to get upset to the point of like they were tearing up. It wasn't anything I did. It was just an emotional moment. One was their entire quest was to get this kind of young kinku to their home, and
Right.
they got attacked by like this ogre bandit type people, and unfortunately they, you know, the child did not survive that encounter, and it just got super emotional because they felt they had failed. And I'm like, and it was literally is kind of the Star Trek thing of like you can do everything right and still lose, and it was that situation. It's like they did nothing wrong.
Yep.
And
Yeah. No,
then
listen, that's
and,
some of the greatest moments when, because I mean, obviously it's a sad moment, but like the role play you get out of your character, out of your players at that point is always so great.
and you know,
I,
if they say D&D is therapy now and teaches good life lessons, it's a good lesson to learn pretty early on. Is, you know, you can do everything right and still lose.
yeah, absolutely. And that's a message that like I always try to like stress to my players. Like, there's one day in the last campaign or the last chapter of the campaign, they were saying they're like, man, I feel like I just can't, like, we just can't get ahead. And that's one of the things I said to them. You're not failing. You're not doing it wrong. I'm
Mm-mm.
like, sometimes you get everything right and still fail. And like, but I don't know, we're just getting beat down. And I'm like, listen, I'm like, you're getting beat down this much. Obviously, something's coming back your way at some point. So just
Yeah.
keep riding the train, keep playing, and see what happens. And sure as anything, there was like I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but there was like a big payoff where they were all like, okay, I get it now. All right, we're cool. But I'll drag you through the emotional mud in my campaigns 100%.
Well, I'd ask when the Plague Throne's coming out, but you already said it's already shipping out ahead of time, so it ain't going to be coming out next month. It's actually coming out now. I
The
guess
rule book is coming out next month, and towards the end of February, the rule book will be live. It'll be free for download, a PDF. But I'm
uh,
also taking pre-orders for the physical rule book.
do you have any sort of shout outs or any sort of thing that you want to do before we wrap it up?
Yeah. If you're in or local to the New York area, definitely go to Long Island Tabletop Gaming Expo. It doesn't matter when you air this. It goes every year. It's a fantastic convention. It's not too big. It's not too small. There's plenty of TTRPG games. So if you're a TTRPG player, absolutely check it out. It's so much fun. It's such a good attitude of a convention too. Like, I want to say it's like a family vibe, but like it's not dedicated specifically to like kids and parents. Like,
Yeah,
it's dedicated to all ages. It's a great vibe. Everyone, it's always fun every year. Never
it's
bad
family
experience.
friendly.
100%. They have people who run games specific for kids.
Hmm.
So
That's the
you can
way.
go run.
That's the way NewtCon
Sorry.
is here in Omaha. It's same type of vibe. They've done it for 40 years. They have it down pat, and it's just a good atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's fun too because like obviously all the DMs, we all kind of know each other at this point because like you get new volunteers every year, sure, but like those who have been there from the beginning, like you watch us like interact with each other. We're like, my buddy Joe might be walking by, he'll be like, yo, bro, I need this, I need it. And, like, I'll toss him a mini or like dice, and like it's just like a fun atmosphere like that, like where everyone's working together. Um, Big shout out to Weather Dragon because he's coming again this year to Long Island Tabletop, and I'm running on his
Nice.
table again, so that's exciting. And I mean, yeah, listen, if anybody's listening to this and they like Super Dungeon or Dungeon Delving board games, teamdrewsbasement.com will take you to the place for the Plague Throne. So, and again, the rule book is 264 pages of content, not just rules.
Yeah,
And it'll be a free download.
nice. Uh, for anyone watching, thank you for listening this far into us nerdy rant with each other. All I can say is that some of the best things in our hobby started in the basement, and that's where you got your name.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me, man. A big shout out to you for just being an awesome dude and doing things like this.
Yeah, it's what I like. I just like talking to people. Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.